Jonah from the band Fucked Up.
And my name is Damian from the band Pink Eye. Just kidding, Fucked Up.
You're watching Moshcam live from Soundwave.
Where moshing is more than just a sport.
God, the best gig. There's been like a lot of pretty incredibly weird, bizarre, like insane gigs. Opening for the Foo Fighters here in Australia was pretty. It was like, it wasn't the best gig in the sense that definitely wasn't the most fucked up bands we ever played to, because there weren't very many fucked up bands. But it was more like, I bought this film, 1991, The Year Punk Broke, when I first got into punk rock. And in that movie, there's a scene with Dave Grohl where he's like backstage and he's trashing the dressing room kind of with Chris Novoselic. And I was like, I would love to be on tour with that dude, like Dave Grohl. And then like to be there opening for the Foo Fighters and like be in Australia opening for the Foo Fighters in a giant stadium. Like we'd opened for them in Canada and the stadium was smaller and stuff, and I don't know, just something here. But I think the best gig from like, you know, a selfish point with kids singing along and stuff was definitely the first time we played Barcelona.
Oh yeah, that was wild.
We played a squat and it's like become this kind of legendary show there, not just because of us by any stretch, but every band that played, like all these local bands were just, oh, so good. O10, like the singer of O10 had some legal problems that he'd just kind of beaten and stuff at that point. He's singing there. Invasion played.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where you actually like, there's a certain amount of cynicism when you're involved in a music scene that's like, punk has a lot of baggage, and you know, you can take it very seriously, you can take it not very seriously. But that was one night where I've never been more sure in my life that I am a punk rocker or something. And that sounds so lame. I realize that the fucking, like, I look like an idiot, but that was the most culturally affirming night of my entire life at that point.
Yeah.
It could not have been more real, and it could not have been more relevant in any way. And it felt we were a part of it.
Yeah,
so that was huge.
It felt bigger than us to be at that show, like way bigger than us. And then, yeah, still that's like one of my favorite shows. Like, it's like, I don't know, when you start thinking about it, I'm sure we could go on forever.
Some
but,
of the local gigs also.
Yeah, you know, like some of the local shows.
The first show we played when we got back from our first tour, we played in our friend's apartment, in his kitchen, and it felt like we were really, truly, finally
Well, it was also like playing a show.
This is like our second year of existence.
There's a time when you're in a band, there's a point when you're in a band where you look out in the crowd and you see people going off for your band or into your band, and it's like people you don't know, and it's like, wow. That's crazy that I've like, these people are not obliged to like this band in the slightest. Like they do not have to care about what we're doing, and they're here to see us. And like, I don't know, that's like this weird moment where if you make music, that's what you're hoping for. Like, it's awesome to get to have that. For me, the most mental show we ever played was we got to play Glastonbury Festival in the John Peel tent. And it was just like, it was like walking out there and seeing like, I don't know, 15,000 people, which for us is ridiculous. I know for some bands here it's not, but for us that's insane. And like, and walking out there, seeing that many people, like kids with face paint on because it's like this weird festival, kids covered in mud, and I led a Congo line through the crowd, and normally I like, when we finish the set, I like to chill in the crowd and like, you know, so people, like if they want to, because like being in a band is only weird if you make it weird. You know, like if you're chill and stuff, like it doesn't have to be fucking weird. So I like to hang out and just, you know, talk to kids if they want to talk about stuff. And that show I couldn't. I was like, this is overwhelming. This is like, I gotta get the hell out of this crowd. And that was just mental for that regard. Actually, no.
I have to say, what weird mental show we've ever played. We played in Tijuana, Mexico.
Yeah.
We got dropped off in downtown Chula Vista, walked over the border through revolving doors, carrying our guitars, walked to the venue. The venue was smaller than this tent. It was like half the size of this tent, lined with asbestos, no air, no windows, one door,
and it was like
people.
Hot like this here.
It was fucking hot like this. No air. It was so hot, like there wasn't anything you could do to beat the heat.
The only dudes that showed up to that show,
American guys,
would have made me look skinny.
Yeah.
Like it was like just huge, fat dudes moshing.
Also, to add to the intensity, Damian and I shared the fish platter.
Yeah, like the poo-poo fish platter.
That's the thing that you're not supposed to do, is don't drink the water in Mexico, don't eat the fish. So here we are eating fish in Tijuana before going on, drinking beer out of an ice cream container because you can't drink beer on the street in Mexico. So
they drink it in an ice cream container.
Our friend Big Mosh was drinking beer out of an Ben and Jerry's container, and he's a heavier guy. We're like, are you sure you're not gonna get in trouble? He's like, who's gonna fuck with a fat guy eating ice cream on the street? So
He did get a ticket though from the
Yeah.
cops that night. And
anyway, so that was Tijuana.
Oh no, but actually the most mental gig, I can't believe we didn't even think about this. The second MTV show we played
yeah.
MTV in the bathroom. We played the first time and shit got trash, and then they were like, yo, we want you to come back, but we want you guys to play in a bathroom. And we came back, and it was one of those moments where you're like, this is out of hand. Like someone could die right now because there's a motor. We had
brought a motorcycle in, which was running, and there were these two girls smoking cigarettes by the gas tank.
Gas spilled out because the motorbike got knocked over and it cracked the gas tank, so there's gas on the floor. Kids are like having spray paint cans and they're lighting them off. You can watch it on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And like people keep turning off the power, and they had a barricade set up so kids couldn't come in the bathroom, but the kids knocked in the barricade and crushed the camera off.
Yeah, and it knocked our guitars, amps over.
So
and
we just
also our
walked
friend Warren got smashed in the face with a mirror.
Yeah, it's wiping blood on me. He's like taking his blood
like
off
going
and just
like
like
this.
rubbing it on me. It was just like,
It was honestly like it was like a caricature of a punk.
Yeah,
it was like what you'd see in a movie, like,
Yeah, it's like,
madness.
you're not allowed to be a punk anymore.
Yeah, your kids are horrible. Yeah. None of us are particularly big
Yeah,
party
I guess
animals.
like if you count like
Does conversation count?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Damien would be the biggest party animal because he can just
I
talk for hours.
If we're talking about herbal things, I love partying. But anything else, we don't really do that. Like we're not a huge drinking band. Like we'll have one night on tour where him or someone else will get real wasted, but never do anything stupid apart from say some funny things.
I feel like that's such a good sign of a quality character, you know. If you get blackout drunk and the worst somebody can accuse you of is being funny, and then, or you know, laughable.
Yeah, laughable.
Laughable rather than, but you were so witty that night that you were blacked out on vodka.
I just could not believe the puns in the.
It was just fast.
It was just you were right. No, yeah, like so.
Like we said though earlier, extremely mild.
Yeah, like I think I don't know, like we had one night in Russia where him and Mike, our guitarist, got into an argument on stage and settled it with a drinking contest where they had something like 18 shots of vodka and vomited it on each other, and it was crazy. Not actually on each other, but like vomited around each other. But yeah, that's the extent of the party.
Very agile drunks.
Oh, one night Josh went skinny dipping. This is how lame we are. We're like, oh, one time someone went skinny dipping.
One time we were drinking wine in the Adriatic Sea together, and it was really lovely. And someone was sick later.
Russia,
Yeah, pretty big. Cops busted the party. People went to jail. Nobody remembers anything.
I'm never going back there because the cops stayed in the room and watched us sleep, and I could hear their. The cops sat in the room with us. The cops sat in the room, and I could hear the guy's radio going off all night. It was terrifying.
That was a big night out.
It was fucking terrifying.
That's a party animal combo.
Yeah, that was like that's why we don't party, because when we party we do it like weirdly death style. Like we'll end up in a Russian jail style.
Well, that's definitely his department.
Oh man, I've got glass still in my head from when I smashed. You can feel it. Do you want to feel it?
This is like a weird,
Like bump there. That's glass.
Marineland moment. Like touch,
Right
touch.
here. I smashed a pint glass in my face. I've done it a couple times. I had to get stitches. The craziest injury I actually gave myself, I think, ever is one time I ran off stage to do it. We had already played. It was my friend's band last show. This is like the first year we were a band. And I was way bigger than I am now. And I got up on stage and ran across stage to do a stage dive, and I saw these kids look at me like, no, not us! So I'm like, okay. And then I kept running, and then the next group of kids they were like, oh, that fat guy's coming here. They all moved. So I do this flip, and I just like wham, and I'm unconscious for, it must have like been like literally like 2 seconds, but I like came to, and people were like looking at me, and we had to play another set that night across the street at another place, and it was pretty rough.
There was the other thing. Damien had a phase where he particularly liked to break stuff over his head.
Yeah.
And we were playing in Texas,
yeah.
and it was a big show, and it was like the first few chords were kicking in, and it was feeling like it's going to be one of those great nights where everybody's like really on. And so Damien, being also on, picked up a huge fluorescent light.
Well, I've been
fixture.
sitting in the dressing room, and I'm like, what's something so stupid that I could do tonight? And I was trying to find a table to jump through. And then I look up and I see all these burnt out fluorescent light tubes, and I'm like, oh no shit. Because I like pro wrestling and stuff, and they sometimes do that shit. So I took them down, and I'm like, all right, like I break bottles on my head. These don't look that hard.
So he picks up this ball and like full force right over the side of his own head, but it breaks really instantaneously and easily. But the refuse starts spinning and flying across the stage, and our guitar player, who's unsuspectingly strumming away, just
Gets a face full of
shatters,
glass.
face full of mercury and glass.
He didn't even get stitches though. What a baby.
But he was like violently ill all the next night.
That wasn't because of a light bulb tube.
I know, but it should just tie together.
Also, I used to pull a lot of blade jobs, which is what they do in pro wrestling, where they razor themselves and take a lot of aspirin. And we played Coachella, and I just bled like a stuffed pig at that show. And there's all this footage of photos of kids in the crowd just covered in my blood. Like at one point, I pick a kid up and powerbomb him, and his crotch is like in my face basically, and I threw him down, and it looked like he had just been castrated or something. There's so much blood in his crotch area.
You know what? Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine saying he was a fan, and coming up to his episode, he'd be like, "Yo, what was the third song you played in your set? That was great." It was like, wow. And like being on stage at ATP and having Bob Mould, Kevin Shields, and Steve Diggle like side stage watching.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's crazy. I don't not that I'm saying that I'm implicating them as
Craziest fan
fans,
experience
but
was that first time we went to Russia, not the time we nearly got arrested. The first time we played Moscow, I go into the crowd at one point, and there's this young woman in the crowd, and I honestly thought she was gonna hurt me, trying to kiss me, and just like ripping at my beard, like it was really terrifying because we're not that band, and we don't. I really hope we do not put forward that image that we're like that band that wants people to jump up on stage and like start physically sexually assaulting us. But this girl was like out of her fucking mind. Also, when we played Coachella that time, I'm like, we have a big Bear fan base, and I love the Bears that like our band, like absolutely. And one time we're playing the show, and I'm passing the mic, and I'm like, "What's sucking on my nipple?" And I look down, and there's like this dude, this like gray-haired dude with a huge beard like mine, and he waves up at me, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, dude." He passes the mic around. That was pretty fucking weird. But yeah, like I don't know. I think the weirdest fan experience is like having kids come to a show and sing along, because it's like so weird that that's all I wanted to happen, and now it's happened.
well, we played in Bradford in the UK, and a bunch of kids came out dressed as like a Trojan horse together, and
they were pissed off the enemy
"Fuck
came
off
to
enemy" written on the side.
the enemy came-
enemy out of punk.
Yeah, the enemy came to interview us, and we were playing like a very famous punk venue called 1 in 12 Club. Maybe not the best place for Enemy to do a photo shoot, but these kids made a giant cardboard Trojan horse and
They like galloped out
into the mosh pit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of other crazy. One time we played a show, and I look out into the crowd, and I see kids having sex. And believe me, there's few things less erotic than our band, and I could not believe that I saw that. It was fucking terrifying. We played a show in Columbus, Ohio, and I go to sleep on the couch, and we play with this band, Skit System from Sweden, who are just like an unbelievable hardcore band. And I'm lying on this couch, and I wake up, I just feel feet in my face, and I'm like, what the fuck? And it's one of the dudes from Skit System trying to sleep on top of me, and he's like, two-man couch! 2 men can fit on this couch. I'm like, dude, 2 men cannot fit on this couch unless they're sleeping on top of each other.
Good answer.
The weird one. Oh my god.
There was a summer where we exclusively had shows.
Every show we had shut down by the cops for like 5 or 6 in a row.
Yeah.
We've had them shut down a lot. The worst time we ever had shut down, we took a train for 2 hours to an airport outside of Toronto, flew 7 hours to England, drove like, what is it?
To
2
Norwich,
hours,
like 2
to
hours
Norwich.
outside of London in bad traffic.
Hung around at this festival where they had no food and nowhere to sit all day. Played at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We got to play 3 bars of one song, and then the cops shut us down.
They're like noise complaints. At a festival.
At a festival. And we got shut down. I also would jump through a table though, which was awesome.
But it was amazing because they shut it down because of noise. It wasn't like, this man's being reckless, somebody could get a splinter. It was like, no. The decibels for the farmers 19 miles away are just a hair over the peak point. Well, actually, you know what? Here's a good run-in with the cops story.
We just told the Russian cop story.
That was the Russian cop story, but here's a positive one. We were in San Francisco. We just finished playing. I can't remember where we played, like that theater.
What is that theater called?
Anyway, we just finished playing a great show, and we were gonna stay at our friend's house in Oakland, and we driven across the bay, and we
were trying to rush because we wanted to get pizza.
Yeah.
So we're driving
We were
pretty
in
fast.
Berkeley. We're driving kind of fast.
There's
but
a little over the speed limit.
You know, we're in the city, so and it's the middle of the night. The roads are empty, and we get pulled over. We're like, oh fuck, this is what a disaster. So van pulls over. Cop comes up. He's like, yeah, you guys got a tail light out. Give me your license. You know, the same old routine.
You know, we were going over the speed limit and we had to tail light out.
So, you know, like typical road stop stuff.
Like we were in the wrong.
He comes back. Yeah, we were in the wrong. We did legitimately got pulled over. It wasn't like some kind of nasty
It wasn't just
cop
like
story.
dick cop move.
So the guy takes the license and comes back and he says, what are you guys doing tonight? Where are you going? We're like, well, you got some gear in the back. What are you, a band? We're like, yeah, we're a band. We just played in San Francisco. To be honest, we kind of just rushed back here to get some pizza. And he's like, what band are you in? Fucked Up, sir? He goes, I love you guys. I'm a huge fan. I would have been at the show tonight if I didn't have to work, but you know, this is what I did instead. And he's like, you know what? You're going to Big Fat Slice, right? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, you better get there. They close in 10 minutes. Gives us the license back. Sends us on our way.
Another time we played a show and a cop gave me a get out of jail free card, like a literal, like they have these in America where like if you're like a family member of a police officer, like when you give the cop your license, you also give them this card in certain places, like in the state where the cop works. And it basically, if you have, like if it's like a not a big deal thing that you've been in trouble for, they just like say, oh, you're a friend of the force. You're on your way. And I've had 2 cops give me those cards. And we have a song about not liking police, but you know, there's cool cops. Like there's dicks in every profession, you know, there's dicks in bands, that's for sure. So, and we've been fortunate enough to meet a couple of cool cops.
Yeah, there you go.